3 unit. So the next part of our poetry unit that we're going to work on is actually writing our poem. So the first type of poem we're going to talk about, we're going to need to get in our characteristics of poetry packet, but I'm also going to refer to the other packet, and that's this one here. This packet right here is going to give you a lot of examples of different types of poems, some of which we are going to be writing and sharing. So let's get started. So the first type of poem we are going to work on is going to be called an acrostic poem. So if you want to turn to this page here where it says acrostic poem across the top, that is our title. And I'm going to actually use the example in this book for this very first poem that we're going to write together. So let me just start by explaining what an acrostic poem is. An acrostic poem is a poem that has the name of a person, a place, or a thing written on a vertical line. And remember, vertical is going up and down, not side to side. So an acrostic poem is going to be written in this direction. And it is written in all capital letters. Then the poem is developed from the first letter on each line. The entire poem is about the name of the person, the place, or the thing. Okay, so the example they're going to give you in here is going to be the word teacher. So, teacher, T, they're giving you a phrase. Trusts that I can learn. E, eases my fears. A, always understands. C, cares about my life. H, helps me make new friends. E, excited over my success. And R, reads amazing books to me. Now, what do you notice about this poem? Can you tell me? Do you notice that the word teacher is all in capital letters and is written vertically? So we're going to try this poem out and we're going to practice writing one together today. So if you turn your page in your other workbook, you should have a page that looks just like this. And this is our acrostic poem planning page. Now, we would brainstorm different ideas, but to simplify the writing process for being at home, we're going to write our own name poem. So the first step I would like you to do is to write your name in your neatest, nicest handwriting in all capital letters. I know we don't usually do that, but this is a poem, so it's okay. So I'm going to write my name while you write your name. All right, so to brainstorm some words that we could use in our acrostic poem on our own names, I'm going to write things about me that might be able to be included in my poem. Your brainstorm ideas are going to be about you and what you might be able to use in your poem. So I'm going to write loves my family. I'm going to write Cub Scouts. Some of the rules for Cub Scouts in my class will understand these are some of my favorite words. Respectful, responsible, kind, helpful. Those are some very good descriptive words, and if you need to use some of those, you can. I'm also going to write a teacher, because that is my job. I'm going to write second grade. Honey Grove ISD. Friends. All right. I'm going to also choose a few vocabulary words about things I enjoy doing around my house and with my family. So we hike, we camp, we swim. We also do things like garden. Some of you might even be taking that potato growing challenge I posted. We work on an old house. And we like rabbits. And as some of you know, I've been babysitting a sheep, and yes, I still have Annie at home. So I have Annie, my sheep. So once I've filled my circles, I feel like I have a pretty good list of vocabulary I can use to help me in my poem. Now, acrostic poems are kind of interesting. You can use one word on a line, or you can use a short phrase. So let me give you an example of that. For example, a word that I might choose that starts with H might be the word happy. I only have one word on my line, but it's okay. It still works for my acrostic poem. Let's come up with another single word for my poem. I had to ask Gus for a little assistance. He chose the word excellent. Now, you'll notice if we go back to our acrostic example that most of the lines in the poem are a short phrase. They do not have punctuation. So Miss Delia is not counting punctuation on your acrostic poem. But we are going to use a few words to describe ourselves. So another way I might describe myself is always caring. Now I need something that starts with the letter T. Let me just think for a moment. And let me just go back to my brainstorming list and see if there's something that starts with the letter T that might be able to help me out. And I see the perfect one. I'm going to use teacher because it starts with the letter T of second grade. Remember, I do not have to use punctuation, so I'm going to skip that part, and you guys should too. Now I need something that's going to start with the letter H. Now, I really like the word helpful from my Cub Scout Tom. So I'm going to use that word, but I'm going to turn it into a phrase. I could use a single word and just write helpful, or I could write the phrase helpful to everyone. Now I need E, and E was a little hard. So I had to go to my oldest son, and he said a very good word. He chose the word empathetic. Empathetic means you have empathy and R. Can you guess which ones I would pick? I can see them right off the bat. I see two R's that I really like, and those are words that we used a lot in my classroom. So I'm going to circle my words that I'm using, and I'm going to write respectful and responsible. Again, no punctuation is needed. So what I'm going to do next is something we haven't practiced a whole lot, but I thought this would be a good time for us to practice together. We're going to actually write two different acrostic poems. So for our acrostic poem, on our first one we did our name, so I would like you to go ahead and put the title of your poem, and the title of your poem is your first name in capital letters. Now, I'm going to read this and we're going to grade our own paper. So, title. The poem has an appropriate title that matches the content of the poem. That one's pretty hard to make a problem with. So, I'm going to put an X over excellent, because we're going to do a little math with our English language arts. Alright, format. The poem follows the style of poetry, having the correct number of lines, rhyme, and rhythm. Did I complete my full poem? Do I have capital letters at the very beginning for my first name? Did I use one word or a short phrase and no punctuation? If you said yes to those, then you should give yourself a score of 4 points. Ideas. The poem has creative ideas and word choices that flow together to complete the poem. Did I use my brainstorming? Did I use some of the ideas from my brainstorming in my poem? I think I did. So I'm going to give myself a 4. Conventions. This poem is free of capitalization, punctuation, and grammar errors. So this one might be a little bit different. But did we follow the rules of the poem? Did I have a capital letter where it belonged? Yes. Did I spell my words as correctly as I can? Some of us might be able to Google words in a Google dictionary. Some of you might actually have a dictionary on your counter and you could check your spelling. Either way, it's okay. You do need to check to make sure that you have no punctuation, because if you included punctuation, you're going to take 1 point off. So, if you used punctuation, take a point off, and it's okay. I did not use punctuation. I have capital letters where they need to be, and I spelled my words as best as I can. And if I needed to, I would Google them. Presentation. The poem is neat and colorful and a matching picture when applicable. Well, this poem didn't require a picture. Did I write it in my neatest, nicest handwriting though? I did. Some of us are still working on letter formation. If you are somebody who is working on letter formation, make sure your tall letters are tall and your short letters are short. Make sure when you're making your A's, you close them at the top so that it's not confused with a U. So, double check your own handwriting. If you're at a 3, you're still doing very good. If you're at a 4, give yourself a pat on the back. Uh-oh, and just like I said earlier, we are going to do a little math. So, what is 4 plus 4? Is 8. Very good. What is 8 plus 4? I can't hear you. 12? Good job. All right, for all my friends that are being a little quiet today, What is 12 plus 4? Did you say 16? That's correct. And 16 plus 4. Whatever number you get for your total, you're going to put right here. If you have all fours, your answer is going to be 20. All right, thank you for writing your name acrostic poem. We will do a second video for the other acrostic poem, and I hope you join us for that one because that one's going to be a fun and yummy one.